Yay! A beginner's guide to RC helis by Okay, here we are. Most of the things are set. Let me describe all the steps that I did. First step was to turn on your radio and set a new model. You have seen that. The second step was to connect all the servos to your receiver, okay, and turn the power on so all the servos will center. Once the servos are centered, I connected these arms, okay, 1, 2, and of course the servo arm to the elevator servo. And how did I connect these servos? It's very simple. If looking at the helicopter from tail, now the nose is facing me, but if the tail is at your side, this is your right servo, which is pitch servo, so it will go all the way and connect to the pitch on your receiver, which is aux 1 in case of this receiver, the Spectrum receiver. Okay, it connects to aux 1. Okay, then at the left one, if the tail is your side, this servo is aileron servo, and it all goes all the way to aileron. Okay, alright, the last servo, of course the back one, is elevator servo, and of course it goes to your elevator. Okay, the rudder servo I connected to rudder. Actually it should connect to the gyro, in fact, but right now there is no gyro, so I just wanted to center it. That is why I connected there, otherwise no use. And the throttle, ESC, is connected to throttle. Alright, the next step is to set the pitches. So how did I begin? I turn on the radio, I go to pitch curves, and I go to throttle idle up pitch curves, okay, and I set the throttle or the pitch to 50 out, as you can see. Okay, I will set it to 50% out right here, and I will put it on idle up mode. ST1 is blinking, and now because the throttle stick is centered, so you should have a 0 pitch. Okay, now is a tricky part. I had to shorten these connecting rods, the long ones, okay, and also I have to shorten the aileron, the pitch, and backside here the elevator connecting rods. I also shortened them the maximum they could. After that I had to move the servo arms, not totally perpendicular, you can see right here as well, and of course and the last servo arm, you can see they are not totally perpendicular. I had to set them this way so I can get a 0 pitch on the blades. At the moment it's just the eye coordination, eye and gas coordination. Later I will use the pitch gauge, and I will put the blades on and make sure this is completely 0 pitch right here. Now that on stick 50% out we have 0 pitch here, we can easily check the servo, the swash plate movement. So we go totally negative, okay, and we have negative pitch, and we go totally positive and we have positive pitch. If I focus it here, you can see negative, positive, negative, positive. Now when you go totally negative, you need to make sure by moving your cyclic stick to see if servos go buzzing. If on full movements, here you can see one servo is buzzing there. If servos are buzzing, this means you are binding somewhere, so we need to make sure using the swash plate setup. I will move the swash a little higher, so make sure nothing is binding on total negative, and also make sure nothing is binding on total positive. Alright, now one last thing on flybarless setup. Go to 50% out, and coming here, this washout base, it's still loose, as you can see. I still have to put a screw on it, and I need to make sure that now that my pitches are at 0, the washout base and washout arms should be totally horizontal. Okay, this is 50% pitch. And also I can see the swash is totally not level. It's a little bit down on the back, so I can increase the length of this connecting rod and make the swash totally level it out horizontally. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is put a screw here on this washout base and make it permanent here, so that we have good pitches, and increase the length of this rod so we have the swash plate leveled. Now that the idle up pitches are set, I can go to the swash menu setup, swash plate menu, and I can make sure I get full positive 14 or full negative 14 or 13 or 12 as per my flight style, 3D flight style. KDS says we can set plus minus 16 on this bird, but that's too hardcore for me. So I will probably go plus minus 13 on these pitches. Alright, so this is now done. Let me go ahead and put the screw on the washout base and level out the swash plate. The next step for me will be to set up the normal pitch curves and idle up 2 pitch curves if I want to use the idle up. And of course throttle curves as well, I will have to set them up, which is piece of cake. I will just use the idle up 100%, 90, 190, 90, 100, something like that. And the next step is, of course, is to set up the stabilization system, and I will post another video for that. Enjoy, more videos coming.